What's up, YouTube? Today I want to discuss about this idea I came about while getting high with some folks. And as you know, while you're getting high, you talk about other times you were getting high. And there was no place I got higher than when I was in India. I'm talking about waking up early in the morning and smoking some hash. And then going to sleep as well, smoking hash all throughout the day. And everybody else was doing it too, it's the hippie trail. And I want to discuss this because while talking about this, I remembered the Indian-Pakistan border ceremony, the Watagatari ceremony between India and Pakistan, which are two countries that have animosities that stretch back to 1,000 years, Hinduism versus Islam. Not the two nations, because Pakistan is a relatively new nation, but they have a history between Hinduism and it's a complicated history. Anyways.
Suddenly the atmosphere gets heavier as the closing of the border ceremony begins. Now this is more like it. Officers seem to be selected on the basis of their facial hair. But facial hair alone is not enough. You also have to gain approval from the Ministry of Silly Walks before being signed up for this job. These strutting peacocks aren't confined to the Indian side of the border. Not to be outdone, the Pakistanis take the evening display every bit as seriously.
So I was thinking, why can't NATO have this kind of ceremony where they have a parade where the two soldiers on both sides come in and they have a dance-off, just like India and Pakistan. So the animosity doesn't range centuries ago between two religions, or right now there's not even communism versus capitalism. So why is there like a hot war right now? Even when I was in Europe, I didn't see people talking about the Russians like animosities, like, oh, the Russians did this, the Russians did that. No, or from the Russian side either. I didn't hear this kind of stuff. There's no animosity the same as India and Pakistan. And many people say as well, like Kyle Kulinski, the former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, oh, what keeps me up at night? Oh, India and Pakistan. Dude, what keeps me up at night? NATO and Russia, or USA and Russia. Everybody else too, so. How they always talk down to India and Pakistan, like they're children, or like, oh, you brown people, you don't know how to behave, you don't know how to have peace and stuff like that. Well, on the other hand, we can see that NATO and Russia have been having more hot wars than anybody else, and their infighting has threatened to throw the whole world into collapse, whether it's economically or even, God forbid, nuclear war. So I propose that NATO and Russia, take the cue from India and Pakistan, try to learn from their South Asian brothers, and they could do a ceremony. And I want to discuss how that ceremony would play out, what dance moves they would use, who would be present, what music they would use, and etc. First of all, let's start with NATO. They're going to have all the Eurovision best. Conchita Wurst, Maneskin, Emile de Forest, and etc. And just like India and Pakistan, before the ceremony begins, they're going to have to be a little party where girls come out and dance. So, a little bit of booty shaking, a little bit of Viking, and a little bit of techno. the piece de resistance, the NATO troops themselves. Since NATO and EU and America, all of them, are the biggest champions of LGBTQ rights and trans rights, and Ursula von der Leyen, who was going crazy at the Euro Cup about them. NATO troops are supposed to be ladyboys, and supposed to wear lipsticks and high heels and do the big, kick in the head like the Indian troops with the heels on. And since they want to prove to Russia that he is, or to Vladimir Putin, Mr. Putin, you are a transphobe, you are a democracy phobe, you are a NATO phobe, you are a homophobe, you are a phobe, sir. That they have ladyboy troops doing. Since they want to prove that to him, they will have ladyboy troops representing NATO. And now for Russia. For starters, there will be one Russian troop riding a horse shirtless. He will walk slowly to the border. And then he will get off his horse and then drink a whole bottle of vodka and then smash it to the ground. So the smashing of the bottle will give the cue to the Russians to start dancing. And since Russia is more rustic compared to the modernity of Western Europe, then they'll do traditional dances like the hopka, which is originally Ukrainian, but it's Russia's too. And ballerinas will start dancing as well. And since Chechnya and Dagestan are still part of Russia till today, sadly, that there will also be the Lazinska. Was it Lazinka? I don't know how to pronounce it. The knife dance. So it will be a great celebration. Women will be dancing, children will be dancing, and men will show their patriotism. And most importantly of all, nobody's going to get killed. So isn't this much better than the wars going on right now? Because like I said before, there's not that much big animosity between the Russians and the Western Europeans, or even the Americans. This is purely the war of spooks and politicians. So I suggest we as Westerners, actually maybe I'm not a Westerner, but I suggest Westerners and Ruskies get together and have a dance-off and show their patriotism that way, instead of getting inch closer to a nuclear war. Bye.